Welcome to today's RUC People. I'm joined by Ria, who has been part of our church for a very long time, on and off. I think a couple of trips up to the Northern Cape in the middle, but welcome, Ria. Good to have you.
Thank you, Russell.
So, Ria, some people will know you well, others not so well, but I am aware you're a nurse. And can you tell us a little bit about your work and what you do, where you work, what kind of nursing?
Okay, I started my nursing career actually at Fairmead Court. Unbelievable. Mm. Yes, this was in the late 80s, 89. Mm. And then from there I moved down to the Northern Cape, where I started to work for two doctors who just came out of the army. Mm. And you must remember the nursing is like you're a nursing assistant and a staff nurse and then a sister. So I was the lower category. Mm. And being a nurse at the surgery, I had to know everything that the sister knew. Mm. And because these two new bosses just started their business. And it was quite challenging because I didn't know what is a trocar. You know, it's one of the instruments, and I thought it's a wedding car outside. Okay. You see? And from there...
What kind of nursing were you doing?
It was in the surgery as a nurse, overall a general nurse, doing also... Because Postmasburg was a very small little town and a lot of mines around the town. Mm. So you deal with burns, severe burns, injuries, all type of daily illnesses at the end of the day. Mm. Yeah.
Okay. And had you always wanted to be a nurse? Where did that come from?
You know, I was raised by my dad. Mm. And he wanted me to go to the army. And when I got in touch with my mom, she wanted me to first be a teacher. Mm. And then she decided, why don't you just do nursing and or teaching? And I said, wait a bit, I will rather go into nursing. Because one day I went actually to be a waiter, and I couldn't handle the screaming. You know, one burger, one this, and then I just, no, this is not my job. You know, it just was the day there, and I left.
Okay. So you decided to be a nurse, and where did you study nursing?
I studied nursing here in Cape Town at the old Conradie Hospital in Geralda Stein. Mm. Yes, that's where I started my nursing career.
Right. Okay. So maybe we'll come back to the nursing, and I'll go back a little bit to start with. So tell us a bit about where you were born, where you grew up, and your family.
Okay, I'm the eldest of 5.
Wow.
Siblings, and with Samantha now we actually 6, because my parents divorced when I was 10 years old. And my father was a policeman, so we lived for 5 years in one place and then move again 5 years. So we were, I was born in Delport's Hope. That's a little place in the Northern Cape.
Okay.
It's near Kimberley. I think it's like 30 kilometers from Kimberley. And from there we had to move to Mafeking. It's now Mafeking. Mm. And then from Mafeking we had to move to Olifantshoek, because then my parents go through their divorce. And from Olifantshoek we moved to Danielskuil. Mm. From Danielskuil to... So it's every 5 years we had to move. And I did enjoy the moving, I must admit. Mm. Because being talkative and loving people, that was fun for me.
You got to meet lots of different people.
Definitely. And then I was actually at a high school down in Postmasburg all the time. So I was in boarding school. Mm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're the oldest of 5, you said?
Yeah.
And what was it like being the big sister?
It comes with a lot of challenges because, you know, my father will say, you look after them, I need to go work, and he will lock the door and they will just do their own thing. And I was just like don't do this, don't do that, but they don't listen to Ria, actually,
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say you had a happy childhood?
I had a very happy childhood with my family growing up, because my father's family is actually in the Northern Cape, and then my mom's family was in Kimberley. So we could go, my father used to take us to them or to his family. His family was on a farm, which was very nice, because my grandma was very strict. It's like 8 o'clock you only get up. 9 o'clock is you're supposed to wash, because 10 o'clock is sort of a brunch breakfast thing. And then it's 11 o'clock is fruit time, and 1 o'clock is all the farmers is coming home and eating. Then everybody must be eaten. Then 2 o'clock you have to go sleep, and it's not always that you want to sleep. So in the afternoon, so she had a nice routine, and I think my father used to love that type of routine, and it was stuck with us.
Sure. So moved around a bit as a child.
Yes.
But then you said you decided to study nursing, and that meant moving to Cape Town.
Yeah.
How was that?
Coming to Cape Town, because that is when I met my mom. And I was then still single, and couldn't make up my mind, what do I really want, because I really didn't want to go to the army. Because I know that time the army was a little bit rough, I think.
Sure, it still is.
Yeah, and but I was between my dad and my mom at all times, because I couldn't make up my mind. And when my mom said, no, let me just help you, let's start with nursing, don't go into, because I said I want to be a policewoman, follow my father's footsteps. And then mom said, no, go into nursing. You can work wherever you want to be. You see. So
you had to move to Cape Town, but you were staying with your mum.
Yes, at that time.
Which would have made it easier. And so you studied nursing, and did you feel, because you say you were a bit uncertain as to what to do. Yes. When you started studying nursing, did it feel right? It
felt at that moment very right, because I was working with the elderly. And then I met this ex-matron of Grooterskeer. I was looking after her, and she was saying to me, just remember, nursing is not just a career. It's a calling. It's you have to have passion for this. And seeing what I do, and she will always encourage me to study further. But then I left after my studies here. I went back to the Northern Cape and worked there.
And that's when you started your nursing
surgery,
career. And can you tell us a little bit about, your career in nursing? You've done it for how many years now?
Oh my goodness, it's now more than 37 years.
Wow. So it's a lot. So in that time, you must have had many horrendous and wonderful experiences, exposed to a lot of things in your life. And I mean, can you tell us about the different kinds of nursing you've done, and maybe one or two stories that stand out for you?
Yes, definitely, because starting my nursing career at Fairmead, actually, where there was a professor, you have to shave him. And then I love to go and shave him, because he will say, no. You're still rough, Ria. You didn't do your work properly. And then I will shave again and shave again. And so one day I had David, my second eldest, and he said, he would love to see my child. And as a mom, you are so proud. You wrap him to, very close. And I said, hi, Prof, here's my son. He said, just unwrap that gift. You mothers is the person who's making these children sick. So I had to sort of unwrap my child and give him, he said, and you bless him, actually, So that is the one here at Fairmead. And then in the Northern Cape was a lot. Oh, my word. Around the Postmasburg is also a lot of farms. So one day this little boy came in with the mom brought the child in. And then the secretary said, Ria, did you see this little boy eat a big slab of biltong? I said, what? And then she said, this little, what's your word? Forgot the word. Anyway, and I took the boy in, and then he did this with the biltong, and I said, what? Klein bliksem, and instead of saying you eat a nice slab of biltong, I said you eat a nice slab of bliksem. Oh. And that was that at the surgery. And one day here at RUC, it was very spiritual, if I just say that, because I worked at RUC as well. I work in oncology, and then I work at the medical side as well. So, and it's psychiatry. And this guy, he gave all his money to me for safekeeping his bag, and he said to me, this morning I'm not going into for the operation, and I must call his accountant. And I went to my operational manager, and I said, Mr. X he said he's not going for the operation. I must rather call the accountant. And while I called the accountant, I said to him, please, this guy said, Mr. X said, please, you must be here by 10 o'clock. And so he said, I walk in and out to this guy's bed, the patient's bed, and he said to me, I can see a bright light. And then I said to him, Mr. X, don't worry, I don't see anything. He said, yes, you won't see anything, but you're going to feel it. And please call the accountant. And it was 10 at that moment. And I called again, and I saw this accountant walk in, and I said, please come. And we had to take his hands, and he said, please just pray for me. In that moment, it was almost like such holy ground, it's such a spiritual thing that happened, because I didn't know he is so spiritual, so, religious, if I had to say that. And he could talk to his accountant, and then he passed away peacefully. That's one of the things. And then in oncology, I also experienced a lot. It's almost like being a nurse, it's almost like you, this middleman between God and this a person, because he was such a hard criminal, and he came out of Paulsmoor to our ward, and that night he said, please, Nurse Ockhuys, come and pray for me. And I said, what's wrong with you? He said, I don't know. Please just pray for me. I can't breathe. And I said, in that moment, it was so busy. Then I said to him, okay, here is my Bible. Just read the Our Father or Psalm 23. But I will come back to you. Around about 10 o'clock, I came back and I took his hand and I said to him, okay, we're just going to pray quickly because I must go and do some other work. We prayed, and then the breathing was fine, everything. The next day I was off, and they let me know, but this patient is now all of a sudden so up and about, healthy, we're going to move him to the males. And when I came on duty, I went and visited this guy that I prayed for and look at him. And he said, I don't know what happened, but I just want to thank you for your prayers. And in the afternoon, before I left work, he just passed away peacefully. So that is some of the stuff that has stayed with me all the time, And sometimes I just wish people can understand there is, I don't know, just a higher power, if I can say that. Yeah. God is in this with us.
I guess you're, as you say, in this space between life and death is very real when you're a nurse. You're seeing people who are, when they're alive, and you see them when they die. And,
definitely.
All sorts in between. And, it must be, you must have great compassion for people. You're seen with people suffering and in pain, and to be able to offer that kindness and empathy must be a real privilege, but must be times when that's tough.
There is times when it's very, very tough, because you as a nurse become so attached to some of those patients. Currently I'm working in a rehab with addiction, and addiction is just destroying the communities. And you see some of them who is, you just see this person, but as time goes on, you can see the transformation that's taking place as well. The healing that's taking, the inner healing that's taking place. And then they leave again. And that's when they really have to, because we teach them the higher power, the power inside of them as well. And some of them really recovered very, very well. And this week that's coming, then I will have some brunch with one of the recoveries. Invited me out to his house. He just bought a new house. This is what drugs can do. Now he can save a lot of money, because he used to miss all his money on drugs. Yeah.
Sure. No, I mean, I take my hat off. I certainly couldn't do what you do, and to be that kind, caring face to so many people over so many years, must be a real blessing to them. I mean, I imagine there must be days when you're not feeling so great yourself, and it must be hard to offer that to others.
Oh, definitely. There are days that you actually feel, you are so drained, emotionally drained, because you've just witnessed maybe this patient going through a tough time. But there are also times that you are so, like in my case, that I'm very, very happy knowing that I could see this patient walk out there at the hospital.
Sure. So, Ria, apart from being a nurse, you're also a mother of 4 boys. Would you like to just tell us a little bit about how that came about? We know how it came about. But how you met the father, and starting a family, and what that was been like for you being a mum.
Oh yes, my children's father, Stephen, and I met at high school. He was my high school lover, so then I fell in love, and luckily I was still in the Northern Cape, and I was very in contact with my father, and my father used to ask, is this the right man? And I would just say, yes, he's the right man, And one day he said, I don't think that is the right man. But I said to him, I love this guy, And he said he will love him for the way he loved me. Anyway, so we got married in Rustenburg because he was a building contractor. And then we traveled a lot. Yeah, it's a young married couple, because he was in Vanderbijl Park, and then up to Rustenburg, and then somewhere in Papua, we were there, and then we came down to Hermanus, and that's actually where I love Hermanus. That's my sacred place. And then I decided, wait a minute, I need to go back to the Northern Cape. So I was like, the nomad in me was just...
Didn't like to settle in one place too long.
No, never want to settle. So I went down to the Northern Cape, and that's where my children were born. David was born already here in Cape Town. And then Faisal was born in the Northern Cape, and so was Craig.
Yes.
So I've got 4 boys.
And Quentin?
Quentin was born in the Northern Cape, in Danielskuil, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so their birthdays is September, October, November, December.
Right. So this time of year is when it'll...
Definitely the beautiful time of the year. Yeah, my boys, and they then start schooling in a private school, Christian school in the Northern Cape. And they were privileged to meet the late Mr. Mandela.
Ah.
Yes, all three, Quentin, David, and Faisal. Because then it was just the transformation of the new democracy,
Yes.
you know. And then Madiba was then in the Northern Cape at their school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was being a mum? Do you enjoy being a mum?
Being a mom, I think I'm the craziest mom. Yes. I think being raised by my dad, that type of values that I actually project to on them, you know, being on time, know who you are, and your values and morals is very, very high, actually, and set them, you know. And so when Stephen and I went through a terrible time, we started a business, you see, and then when he was in Hermanus, I was at home. I was then also involved in the Cancer Association in the Northern Cape, very much because then cancer awareness was just coming out while as a nurse. I had this full-time job, but then I also had a little business, and then there was a guy that will always come and fetch my children and take them to school, and there was also a nanny who would look after the while I'm at work or doing my spreading awareness of cancer at the time. Yeah.
Okay. And so, obviously, eventually you found your way back here more permanently, and what brought you back to Cape Town?
Okay, then I went actually through a divorce. You know, I went through a divorce. Craig was then 4 years old at that time, and Quentin was then 10. So you can imagine how old was the other two. And coming back to Cape Town, we had to live with my mom for a while. And then raising them as well, you know, I can just say I've been blessed with the fathers here at RUC. You know, that's when I started, when that was 2000.
I was going to ask, how did you get connected with RUC?
Yes, because in the Northern Cape, I was very much involved in the Sister Bond and children, the youth actually, and then I had to find out where is this a similar church, and I found Douglas Beck's one day while it was at Checkers actually. Pick and Pay wasn't here. It was just Checkers, and then we talked, you know, and I came here, and it was quite nice. It was like finding a family, my family again. And the fathers here, you know, the late Rob Robertson, Alf, they were then sort of filling that father roles for my boys, because they would phone them and go fetch them and teach them how to play pool, how to do maths. And then Robert was also in the mix. Oh, you know, I was actually jealous of Tina and Robert, because as a mom, I'm a full-time, I need to work.
Yes.
12 hours, and then they will come and tell me, oh, Robert did this, and Robert was here, and Tina did that, and I was wondering, who is this people? I need to find them, you know. And also, but what I used to do, I tell them, you know, you go to church even if I'm not at church. And still today, I can say they do that. They really do that. And raising my boys, it was quite a challenge, you know, because I didn't, you know, when it comes to your family as a nurse, you know nothing about health problems, if I can say that.
Okay.
So one day, one night, overnight, Quentin and David's voices broke, you know, and I thought those children were sick the next day, because I said, what's happening with you guys? No, mommy, nothing. And then I will feel if they got the temperature, no temperature, but then I will go and get some medication and give them to them, you know. And sometimes they will laugh and say, mommy, I can't believe that you didn't know our voices is breaking. So we're growing up, yeah. Yeah.
Well, yes, the boys have been part of it, although I think Quentin and David are overseas now, aren't they? Or Quentin's in the army. And You can tell us.
Oh, yeah. Quentin is a male nurse at the moment. I really take my hat off for Quentin because as a nurse, I would never have go into working with quadriplegics.
Wow, that's tough.
Yeah. I would never be able to because I know they mentally nothing wrong with them. And mostly you will hear that they actually sort of short-tempered and want the things the way they want it. But Quentin is really blessed having these patients who loved him so much. And they have taken him even last year overseas with the rugby, traveling France, and he's normally traveling with them around. And then David is in the USA at the moment. David is a chef, and David wanted to be a chef all these years, since he started high school, actually. He was talking about being on the cruise liners, and from the cruise liners he will then start a business. But so it's now, I'm just waiting for the business to come. Yes, and then Faisal is a graphic designer, but he's currently working at Africa Burn headquarters. And then Craig is in the army. Yeah. So all four of them got now girls, and I told them the girls is not a daughter-in-law. I don't believe in daughter-in-law. I love to say they are my daughters in love because I want to love the daughters the way I love my children.
Yeah. So Ria, I know after your divorce you also married again to Gavin, and tell us a little bit about that. And obviously there's a bit of a sad story there as well.
Yeah, I never thought I would actually get married or find someone because I had so much anger in me. When you go through a divorce, there's so much anger. And then I had Anne, who was here at our church, a clinical psychologist, who used to check up on me, and then she would advise me to go to FAMSA for the divorce support group. And when I got there, I was quite ashamed, knowing and seeing we are just 4 women here, but here is nearly like 7 men. We were such a big group and such diverse actually at the time. And that is where I actually gained sort of respect for men again. Seeing them crying, because in my mind was like women will never hurt a man, But seeing the men cry over what the woman is doing was another story. And so with Kurt, I met Kurt like 10 years later after my divorce. And I met him and I couldn't believe it. I met him through his sister, actually, I've never seen Kurt while the two of us were best friends. And one day she just asked me, what am I doing? And I said, no, I'm just here at home. And she asked me, she said, my brother's going through a terrible time. Don't you want to go out with us? And we went out and we danced. And he was like sitting there holding his hand like this. And I said to him, no. You leave your problems at the door and you come and enjoy yourself. We were dancing. And that's how the friendship started. And then I realized what he's been through. He was also been through a trauma. But he was the most wonderful, wonderful man. And for the last 5 years, I think we lived together for 5 years. And every day of that 5 years, he would ask me to get married to him and get married. And I was like scared, because it was for me too good to be true that there is a man that can treat you so well. And my children love this man. They had a very good bond. And so we got married here in RUC, Rondebosch. It was the most wonderful and beautiful wedding. I mean, in front of the congregation on a Sunday. And yes, and the next day we actually went on cruise liner from Cape Town to Walvis Bay and then back. And life has just started, And then 6 months later, he just passed away suddenly. But what happened before he passed away, I must admit that I had this dream about my late father. He was standing under a tree, and then I saw all this Philharmonic people with all the cymbals playing, and I said, no. I was happy to see my father, but then I said to him, I need to run behind these people. And he grabbed my hand and he said, it's not for you. And I woke up. But the people went into such a beautiful place that I can't describe, And the next morning, Monday morning, I dreamt again. And I even told Kurt about the dreams. I dreamed that the fisherman is standing in a line, and the fish is so happy. The fish just jump like this, and the fisherman can catch them like that. And I asked the fisherman, where is Kurt? And I couldn't find Kurt. And the thing, when I look back, and I just thought this was sort of a warning sign or something, preparing myself. And the day when Kurt came, the Monday afternoon, he phoned and said he's just saying goodbye to all the people at his work, and then he's going around to the clinic, and then he will come home. And when Kurt came home, I was like sitting and watching the front door. It was like something that just pushed me up and said, but look at this man. He looked so beautiful. There was just something else about him. And I asked him, what happened to you? Is it that girls at work? And I said, did you tell them I can be very jealous? And he was just laughing and said, you won't understand. And then he lay down on the bed and he said to me, just come here. And took my hand and he said, I want to thank you for the last 5 years. You made me the happiest man, and nobody could take this happiness away. And I was thinking, what nonsense are you talking, And I used to play like spider on his face. And then I felt like this little hair, and I said to him, oh, you didn't shave this little hair off here. And he said, I left this specially for you. When I'm in my coffin, you will come and shave it off. And then he told me I mustn't put petrol in a diesel car. I won't see the house and all this. And then I decided, wait a minute, I'm going to phone his sister-in-law. He still had amazing sister, his ex-sister, his ex-family loved him to pieces. And I phoned his sister-in-law and I said, you must listen, what nonsense is this man talking? He don't love me anymore. We just got married yesterday. And he was laughing, and while I looked back, I just saw a little yellow pimple in his eye, and I told his sister-in-law, oh, he got a pimple in his eye. And then she asked me, just tell him, where did he look? And then the two of them talk a little bit, and we said goodbye. And that evening, around the table, Craig and Faisal and myself were there. And he came around and he said, listen, I just want to tell Craig was in matric, and I said to Craig, I want you to pass the way Faisal passed. Because Faisal was just 3 months in high school, in matric actually. And he passed with a bachelor's entry, because what happened with Faisal was at Star, and then some of his marks dropped because we moved to Grassy Park at that time. And but Faisal passed very, very well. And he said to Faisal, you made me the proudest dad to pass like that. And in my next life, I'm going to be like David. David will just check in with us, and then he will go and maybe go to Aristide, stay there for a night or two, and then go back, maybe go to your house. That is how David used to operate. So he said in his next life he's going to be like David, just checking in. So he gave me just a kiss on my head, make me a cup of tea, and then went to the bathroom to go bath. But before that, he said he's going to phone his brother-in-law. And he phoned him, and I was just cleaning up the kitchen, and he's in the bath. But then I thought, wait a minute. And all of a sudden, the curtain is just blowing. You know, it was just a strange night that night. And I thought, there's no wind, so I better go. And I knock on the door. He never locked the door. And I ran down to Craig and Faisal, and I said to them, come look what's happening. I can't open the bathroom door. Your Uncle Kurt is in there, and he don't give me an answer. And, you know, you phone the ambulance, you phone everybody, and at that moment, nobody is available. Then I phoned Robert, and Rob was there 1, 2, 3, and we wrapped him in, because he was sitting in the bath, and we wrapped him in the blankets, and we took him to Vincent Pallotti. And the doctors actually was really struggling to get him, and 10:20, then he passed away. Yeah, so I was just married for 6 months, and being in the honeymoon phase, it was actually terrible, you know, terrible. And but he was the most amazing man. And then it was a grief moment that started. And working at Grooteskeer, I became then a Denosa rep, a shop steward. And I had to keep myself very busy because, you know, it was actually a very tough time for me emotionally.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You must have taken some time to get over that.
Oh, I think it took me actually quite years. It took me more than 5, 6 years to really get over it. Yeah. To really get over it. Because I remember when Robert came, boys were worried that I will go in a depression, you know, because this was really like my soulmate.
Yeah, no, sure.
Yeah.
No, I feel for you, Ria. So, but time passes and...
Yes, time passes, you know, and I didn't really attempt being in another relationship because I was just thinking, you know, this is big boots to be filled.
Yeah. Absolutely
big boots. But being a Denosa rep, I was a shop steward. I became, you know, activism started, and then I became a gender-based activist. Yes, that is challenging, and that is an eye-opening. You know, it was, and being so angry at, you know, I don't know, was I still angry at God? Was I still angry at men and women that don't understand each other and all that? And that is where my gender-based activism started.
And tell us a bit more about that. What are you doing with that now?
You know, I was so heavily involved at night. People will phone me and say, Ria, you need to go get that woman. She's there all by herself. Then I had to come to Mowbray Police and tell the police, please just escort me, because I didn't have a car at that time. Escort me then to SARC apartment, and then we had to put the ladies there, you know. And with that, it was also quite nice because I was then sponsored by the Swiss embassy to do the gender reconciliation group therapy that we did. And I did really enjoy that as well. And from there, I think it was like now 4 years ago, we did the human sexuality group here at Rondebosch United. Yeah. But my boys don't want me to be an activist because it is extremely, extremely dangerous. I also went to people's funerals that I don't even know, and children's funerals, you know, gun violence, all this type of things that's happening. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Ria, apart from work and being a mum, what do you like to do for fun?
Currently, I love dancing, you know.
Really?
Oh, I love dancing. Even if I dance alone, it's also okay.
What kind of dancing?
I love salsa.
Okay.
I love salsa. So this year, I want to actually try the kizomba.
Oh. Talk to Selena. She's does it all the time. So do you take lessons for dancing? Or
I
do it for fun?
I actually do it for fun. I'm just doing it for fun, and it's quite, you know, you actually release so much stress at the end of the day. Definitely. Yeah, and then I also, for fun, I'm still, although I'm not working at Grooteskeer, I'm still very much involved with the nurses, and we normally go every 3 months away, say to Ceres or to Lang. This coming weekend, we will go to Langebaan. You know, we always go to certain places, and there's also time to just release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you working full-time these days? Or?
I am currently working full-time. I'm working for an overseas company, and most of the Netherlands people come here, and then...
What's the company doing? Is it still nursing?
It's part, it is addiction.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a rehab.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So anything on the horizon for you? What are you looking forward to? Any big plans coming up?
Any big plans coming up? I think, you know, I'm waiting so much for my boys to really, they are actually trying to settle down, but Quentin, his girlfriend is a radiographer, so they got a little house here in Mowbray. Then David already said he's going to settle in Russia. He got a Russian girl. Yeah, and Faisal is going to settle, I don't know. She said she's coming to South Africa, and Faisal said he's going to New York. So I don't know. You see, all these big plans. And then Craig is still in the army, and his girlfriend is also in the army with him.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where they're going to settle. So at the end of the day, I'll have to get a boyfriend, you know.
Well, one day you might have grandchildren soon as well.
Yes, you know, the grandchildren. I said to them, if I have to get grandchildren, then I will have to leave my nursing, you know, and start a creche.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how quickly the boys move. You never know. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ria. I appreciate your time today and sharing something of your story. And we enjoy having you here at RUC. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Russell. Thank you so much.